Okay. Hello.
Yeah, on. Thank you. Good afternoon, countrymen and women and the youth of our country. And good afternoon to you, my dear colleagues from the media. Thank you for coming to this media engagement at your ministry, the Ministry of Information and Media. Admittedly, we should have called for this media engagement much earlier in the day, but there was an anticipation that the president would have had an engagement which may have required certain media houses to carry live, and therefore we didn't want to divide the attention of the nation, given that when the president is live, he takes precedence of everything else. However, that having not taken off or place yet, it was deemed important that we do have this media engagement in order that as government we do ventilate on a few issues that we deem necessary to pronounce ourselves to our citizens. So our citizens are joining us on various media and social media platforms for this particular engagement. We will be discussing a few issues. Inter alia, the update to Cabinet, which was held yesterday, Monday 24th, at State House, at which Cabinet was updated on a number of issues, and also certain resolutions made which we feel it necessary to share with the nation. We also take the occasion to update the nation on the issue relating to the Constitution amendment proposal. And time allowing, we will also be able to engage with you, dear colleagues from the media, on a few issues that are doing circulation in various media platforms. So, let me first take the opportunity to update the nation on what Cabinet was updated on the following three ministries. Number one, the Ministry of Education, as you would understandably see that we're just coming out of the announcement of those who were recruited. We'd like to give a few updates on that one. Then the ministry would also like to give updates on recruitments that have taken place through the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Health, so that as we are in the midst of a year transitioning from third to fourth 4 years of President HH and New Dawn administration in office, we begin to checklist promise made, promise delivered, outstanding work. So these will be very brief. I'll start with the Ministry of Education and indicate that as a result of the electoral commitments that President HH made that emanate from the UPND manifesto and now transformed into government policy, the government has taken intentional steps to improve education standards in our country. This is evident through various initiatives such as the introduction of the Education for All policy, otherwise popularly referred to as free education, the large-scale production of school infrastructure such as desks and construction of new schools, and also housing units for teachers, the reinstatement of meal allowances for students at public universities, and the significant expansion in the provision of student loans, and also the expansion of the school feeding program that is meant to ensure that, particularly in this year of drought and therefore disaster and deficit of food at various household levels, school-going children should not abscond from school because of hunger. And in view of the above, the recruitment of teachers was placed as a key priority to actualize the Education for All policy program to become a reality and be able to reap the intended benefits, access to quality education for all. The government, therefore, in line with these policy positions I have just indicated above, embarked on a robust recruitment program for teachers to address the high teacher-pupil ratio, which currently stands at an average of 1 teacher to 55 pupils for primary, and 1 teacher to 38 pupils for secondary schools. The current high teacher-pupil ratio is contrary to acceptable international standards. Standard ratio of 1 to 45 for primary and 1 to 35 at at secondary school levels. Therefore, to be able to mitigate this racial gap, the government has therefore recruited teachers as follows. As we all know, that President HH and his administration came in August of 2021. And in 2022, the government of President HH recruited 30,496 teachers. In 2023, the government recruited 7,222 teachers. In 2024, the government recruited direct recruitments 4,200 teachers. And in 2025, the government shall recruit 2,000 teachers to be recruited as per the provisions of the 2025 national budget, which was announced last year and is the budget currently in operation. Kindly take note that in 2025, the Ministry of Education, and through it, government will be processing 2,400 teachers to be recruited under replacements as a result of attrition arising from retirements, resignations, dismissals, and or death, and or any other reasons that have taken our employed teachers from their positions. In the 3 years and a half, therefore, of the new Dawn administration of President Hakainde Hichilema, a total number of 41,916 directly recruited teachers have been employed, and all of them placed on payroll. This, I'm sure you are aware, there were naysayers who were saying, where will they find the money to pay all these people they are recruiting? It is happening under the able leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. Now, take note that the 2,000 and 2,400, that is to say, those to be recruited in 2025 and those to come through replacements respectively, have not yet been added to this number of 41,916 teachers who have been employed by government in the last 3 years. Now, when you add these, because they are definitely coming, as you know, President HH walks the talk. The total number at the end of 2025 who will have been directly recruited or employed by government within 3 to 4 years will stand at 46,316 teachers that will have been employed. Now, as a way of showing progress, we would like you, dear colleagues from the media, because when it is me to say it, some people say don't mention others because you are the ones in government. I would like to encourage you to invest in a bit of investigative journalism to find out, as an example, how many teachers were employed from 2011 to 2021. And I'll tell you the number, that it was 2,900 teachers who were employed in 10 years of that administration. And we make this comparison not to show failure, because it is self-evident. We mention these numbers to show that we as a country are making progress in terms of teacher recruitment, and also in terms of actualizing the electoral commitments that President HH made ahead of the 2021 general elections, and therefore confidently state that President HH is walking the talk. So there is the number. By 2025, the year we are in, 46,316, and compare to a pottery in the previous 10 years. This is very important data, colleagues, and they will be able to photocopy and give you, because this is information from the Ministry of Education, direct. Because we have heard startling remarks from certain quarters of our community asserting that President HH promised so many things, he has delivered zero. I want to challenge those who are saying President HH has delivered zero. If 46,313 teachers in 4 years is zero, and where those people were when the previous administration had de facto placed a moratorium on employment of teachers, leading to a huge backlog of young people who had graduated from various universities and colleges and had certificates that were accumulating dust because there was no opportunity at unemployment. We are aware as government that this number is still a little number when you compare with the volume or numbers of unemployed teachers who have graduated. I recall that in 2022, when the advert was thrown out there for teachers to apply for employment, which got the first batch of 30,996, we received well over 100,000 applicants. I think that if my memory serves me right, those who applied that time were 117,000. If not 217,000, have to get that right. But that is just to show that despite this, milestone, a lot of work has to be done out there. But this far, this is decent work posted and done by President Hakainde Hichilema. Given where we are coming from, that job creation and employment, particularly of young people, is connected to the state of the economy, because when you employ as government, there must be space, fiscal space, to accommodate those recruited or employed on the payroll. It should not just be a matter of employing people and then 3-6 months down the line, they are still waiting to be assimilated on the payroll. All the teachers who get employed under the new Dawn administration, the moment they get their admission letter, their names are submitted to the Ministry of Finance, and there and then, even before they report at workstation, they begin to receive their salaries. This is a prudent government of President HH. So we should not be arguing about things that are straightforward. And now, going forward, me have decided that politics I'll by and large leave it to the UPND media team, as we'll be dealing with realities of what government has done, because numbers don't lie. It is important for us to move ahead as a nation and also be cognizant of the fact that there will always be naysayers. There will always be doomsayers. And in a democracy, there will always be people who will place themselves on a blind spot to be oblivious of what is happening for their own personal reasons as to why they will be arguing. I think this will be made available to you, dear colleagues from the media, to see how far the government has done in recruitment of teachers. The Ministry of Home Affairs, since 2021, Zambia Police has recruited and thus employed as government 8,097 officers since 2021. The Immigration Department, since 2021, has recruited officers as follows: 714 immigration officers and 193 border guards, giving us a total of 907 officers under the Immigration Department. The Zambia Correctional Services has posted a recruitment of a total number of officers of 1,945. All these three are departments under the Ministry of Home Affairs, and aggregated together, they give us a total of 10,949 officers directly recruited under the Ministry of Home Affairs in the last 3 years of President Hakainde Hichilema in office. The Ministry of Health, 22, which was the first recruitment under the New Dawn administration. The Ministry of Health recruited 12,000 health personnel. 23, the Ministry of Health recruited 3,173. In 2024, the Ministry of Health recruited 4,218 health personnel, giving us a total from 2022 of recruited health personnel under the Ministry of Health to stand at 20,254. That is under the Ministry of Health. And I want again to appeal to you, my dear colleagues, to go and check the number of health personnel who were recruited between 2011 and 2021 for purposes of benchmarking, because we do have